What's up, everyone? Today we're interviewing Miss Stephanie Cavin, and she's a homeschooling mom. She was a public teacher. She was actually a homeschool graduate herself. She focuses on a 2 hour study session, which allows parents to get that work life and school balance. She brings up a lot of things about what she saw in the public school system, as well as what she's seen in her day-to-day homeschooling life that works best for her. See you guys inside. Miss Beth.
Hi. Hi. Hi, guys.
Okay.
Hi.
So how you doing today?
Good. How are you, David?
I'm
I'm so
doing
sorry about last time. My deepest apologies.
No,
That
not
time
okay.
change, I always forget to look at that, and yeah,
It's
so
nope,
sorry about
it's
that.
not okay. You're starting off with two strikes today, so now we'll see how you
Two?
go.
Oh no, not just one?
Not just one, starting off with two.
Oh
So,
dang.
just for the people who are going to be watching it, can you just kind of tell me? I know your backstory, just in case anyone doesn't, though. Kind of a little bit about you, how you fell into homeschooling from being a teacher yourself. That's kind of like my mom a lot, and then a little bit about kind of what you do as well, helping homeschooling parents out.
Yeah. So I was homeschooled as well, just like you. I was
Oh, no
homeschooled.
way. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I'm a second generation homeschooler. So K through 12, I was homeschooled back in the 90s when, we were a rare breed for sure.
Very, very for sure.
Yeah. So my mom was like the ultimate unschooler, having us out building forts. So that was I always kind of in my heart. And then when I went into teaching, it kind of like just clinched the deal for me. I was like, oh, I see what these kids are so much that they're going through right now, just mentally and emotionally. And so my husband and I just had a really heartfelt, conversation, and I kind of just presented what I was seeing, and he was like, "Yep, I." His heart was aligned with homeschooling and how much personalization we could give to our kids, and just making the world their classroom. So, yeah.
The best way to do it. Now, was your husband homeschooled as well, or was he went through the regular? Okay, so he went through the regular school system then. Uh,
Yeah, he was like the ultimate. I was homeschooled, like the homeschooler, like building forts, and he was the kid out skateboarding and public school, and like we're just totally opposite. So he bounces in me and brings a lot of societal culture things like movies and stuff that I've never seen. He helps me with that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So a little bit right now, because you are still homeschooling your kids, right? Right now,
Yeah.
could you just explain kind of like what a day in a life looks like in your family?
Yeah. So, it looks a little bit different now. So I was, a public teacher in the classroom, and so that's really where this was born is because I was working full time outside of the home. And our heart was homeschooling, so we were homeschooling as well. And so many parents were coming to me and they were like, "How are you working full time and homeschooling?" Because we want to homeschool, but I live in California, and in California, it's nearly impossible to have one income.
Yes.
And yes, exactly. So it's really difficult to not work and to be able to homeschool. So I put together the systems that we do. I when I first started homeschooling, I failed miserably. I was replicating the school system. I was like, I'm a teacher. I know what to do. I can do this. I'll get all the worksheets, all the packets. I'll sit them down for 7 hours at our homeschool desk, and it just failed miserably. So I pared everything down. I was like, okay, we're just going to go back to the basics. And I pared everything down to a 2 hour system. And my kids thrived. They tested, ever since I have done that, they have tested 2 to 3 levels above their grade. And even into high school, last year they tested into high school in some of their subjects. So it really shows that less is more. It doesn't, you don't need to do more. So, yeah, so a day in the life in our now, because I'm home and I'm doing this full time and I work online full time. Um, Before, my husband and I would we would go back and forth. So he would do the mornings and I would come home and follow up in the afternoon. But
Okay.
now we do 2 hours in the morning, and the kids, they do an online math. I outsource my math because that is not my strength.
That's
I
perfect.
am always telling parents, like, you do not have to teach everything. You can outsource. We have so many resources available to us as homeschoolers in 2025
Yes,
versus
ma'am.
1992 when I started.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
So I know, actually, I'm gonna real quick, just before we go into kind of the homeschooling, like your experience. You have a bunch of followers. So what's really the mission behind your social media content? 'Cause I see all the value you're giving there, but can you kind of just talk to the parents about what your mission is there?
Yeah, I really want to equip parents, but working parents especially, with the tools that will allow them to be successful in homeschooling because there are, again, like I just said, there are so many resources available. And
Hmm.
if you're not in the homeschooling world, you really just don't know what's available to you. And I feel like I have a little bit of a leg up because I was homeschooled
Yep.
and because I was a teacher. And so I bring in a lot of those resources that I use even as teaching. We use an online math curriculum that that I learned about when I was in the classroom. So I'm able to marry those two experiences and give that to parents and really allow them to know that you can do this, that it is a sacrifice and it's not easy, but I can give you the systems, I can give you the resources, and I can give you the tools that will allow you to be successful. And I really am just equipping them and letting them know you can homeschool as a working parent because in America we have almost 5 million families who are homeschooling, and I have teachers in my DMs, I have families in my DMs every single day that are like, I want to homeschool, teach me how. So I am just giving them the resources to allow them to be successful.
I love that. I love that. I think you and my mom would get along amazingly because she wasn't homeschooled, but she was a teacher for 10 years. And then she had an experience in the with the school system, and she was like, I am never sending my kids to do this.
Wow.
Real quick, what's that math curriculum you're using?
Teaching textbooks. We love teaching textbooks.
Yeah, I
Why'd you
use
buy that?
that.
Did you use that one, Miss Beth?
Yes. Uh-huh.
It's
I
so
used
good, right?
yes, and it was hard for me because I'm not a math person, but I think for people who like math and are really good at visual learning, it's a perfect match.
Love
Yeah.
it. Love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, it is
Yes.
completely. We don't do the worksheets. We just do completely online, and it tutors,
Nice.
it grades, it does everything. So it's completely outsourced, which
That's
is like a
nice.
hallelujah. So
I don't
yeah,
think it was quite like that when I started. I think I
okay,
did some workbook stuff, I think.
okay.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Were you
I'm
homeschooled
glad
as
it worked.
well?
Yeah, K through 12. Yeah. Yeah.
Amazing. We got a
Yeah.
homeschool crew
We got
here.
we got three
Thank
social
you.
outcasts on this one today.
Yes.
Ain't that the truth?
So real quick, can you give us a little bit about the homeschooling for the working parent? What's that about? And I know you kind of touched on it a little bit, but can you go a little deeper for that?
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I tried to make it really affordable. It's $27. And I really go over all of the systems that I use that have allowed me to be successful. So how I'm able to pare down to 2 hours and what that could look like for anywhere from kindergarten to high school, because I also taught high school as a high school teacher as well. So I give them these systems. This is what it could look like for kindergarten. This is what it could look like for third grade, 12th grade, and I give them those systems. And then for every grade level, I give them, a list of curriculums that they could use that they can pull from, a list of
Mm,
online resources. And then I just speak to them of just letting them know that you are capable. I think so many parents feel like they are not qualified. And of all times, I think they've always been qualified. We've taught our kids how to speak, how to tie their shoes. And this is really no different. You can teach your kids, you are qualified. And I would say, from a teacher perspective, I think that you're more qualified because you understand your kids in a way that teachers we can't. When I taught, I was teaching a room of 26 kids to
Yep.
30 kids. I cannot personalize an education for those 26 kids, but you as a parent absolutely can. And so I also go over the learning, are they kinesthetic? Are they auditory? You can tune into those learning needs of your kids. And that in and of itself, if you have a child that is a hands-on learner and they're sitting in a desk and just looking at a board and hearing a lecture all day, you can eliminate so much fluff and unnecessary frustration for that child by just giving them hands-on learning. And so I give them tools of what that could look like in their homeschool day.
Man, I love that. And I also love because we always tell all the parents that nobody loves or cares about your kid as much as you. And just because you have that right there, you're more qualified than any other person to teach your kid. You're going to be able to observe, like you said, you're going to know what's going to work for them, what's not. You understand them. You understand when they're at a good spot to learn, when they're at a bad spot to learn. So I
Yeah.
can't do nothing but back that up. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, a question we get a lot is about a lot of the times you'll see that like when just like you did when they first start they feel like they have to mimic that school system.
Mhm.
Once they kind of get past that and recognize, hey, this is not what we have to do, then they kind of start trying to figure out a routine. Can you
Mhm.
touch on just like even if it's none, like my mom, she is, people would call, I've gotten pictures from my friends of my mom at random times just in a park hugging a tree. So like if that explains anything about her, that's how she is. Okay.
Love it.
Um, so she is like she's all for like having a routine. She can't stick to it, whatever. So if you can't, that's totally cool. But can you kind of touch on, especially in the early days, how to get a routine? If you have any tricks that maybe will help them out with that?
Yeah. Yeah, that's such a good question, David, because I do think that routine plays a really important role in homeschooling, especially for working parents. And that's really who I'm speaking to. And I think that you want your kids to have a level of independence because you are working and homeschooling. And so routine is going to be so crucial to build that independence because they know exactly what to expect. They know exactly what they're doing. I mean, honestly, my kids wake up, they do their math, they do their reading, they do their writing, they do it all independently. And I'm just there to answer questions, but really they're doing it independently. But it is because I've built that system and I've put systems in place of the routine of exactly. So even if we're changing up curriculum a little bit or something needs to pivot, the routine is pretty much the same. We get up, they have breakfast, we connect, and then they go right to their school. So they're doing math, they're doing reading, they're doing the same thing every single day. And I think that that's something that I did bring over from teaching because routine was so important in the classroom and I saw that. And so I really emphasize that in my course as well is that build that routine and take your first month of homeschooling to really take the time to set the expectations of this is exactly what we're doing. This is how we do it so that that first month is going to be a little bit difficult, but you will have the next, 6 to 8 months of they will be working independently. You will set that system and they'll know they'll have that expectation and it'll be so much easier and so much smoother because they know exactly what they're doing. And kids are smart. They're smarter than we give them credit for and they'll
Mhm.
pick it up like that.
No, and also I forget where it was, but I read a study where if kids can expect what's going to happen the next day, whether it's for like an athletic event or an educational thing, they'll actually perform better just because they're going to sleep the night before, knowing exactly what the day is going to look like, the actions they're going to have to take. So my mom, like I said, she tries to like routines. She can't really stick to them. But we did have a routine in our homeschooling journey that she did stick to. Um, but that's what I love. Like I said, even when you get older, if you just have that set morning routine before work, that set thing that you're going to do, it allows you to really embrace the day and go through it and get everything done rather than just like waking up and saying, okay, what are we going to do now and having to start all the way back over at zero rather than just waking up, going right into the motions and getting it done. Do you have any tricks to kind of help them develop that routine, or is it kind of just you let the families figure that out for themselves?
I give a couple different options, David. I love a looping schedule where you are putting the most important subjects at the beginning. So we don't do every single subject every single day. And I talk about that in my course and in my content. I think that, when you go to college, you're doing, statistics on one day in English, and that's really something that I try to open people's minds to, families' minds to in homeschooling because you don't have to do every single subject every single day. And I would actually say that it's probably more beneficial if you don't, because if we do, math and English, so sorry about that. We do we do math and English, and then we do history and science. So we do a looping schedule so
Okay.
that my kids are not doing every single subject every day. So I give examples of what that could look like. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you're doing math and science, and then Tuesday, Thursday, you're doing history and ELA. And I always have them reading, so they're always reading, and there's so many benefits of that. I mean, that just covers all subjects, really. But I give a lot of examples of how you can, we're paring it down to 2 hours. You really can't fit everything into 2 hours. So this is what it could look like. And this is how we pare that down. We take off, doing all the subjects every single day. And I think that's a really important part of creating the system of 2 hours and how to homeschool as a working parent.
I feel like also with you doing it that way, it allows the kids to really engage more and be more focused for those two subjects in that day compared to having to spread it out every single day going through all four where they're getting some mental fatigue maybe. I don't
Yeah.
know if that's true or not, but that's what I feel like. I know for me, if I can focus hard on two things, I'm gonna do a lot better than me trying to focus on four or five different things,
100%. Yeah, absolutely.
So when it comes to the 2 hours, how'd you fall into this? Like, how did it happen? Was it just something that you were striving for, or was it something that just kind of started happening, you recognized, and then you went hard and really built a system around it?
Yeah, I wish I could say that I recognized it early, but it honestly just came out of a day of pure failure. I just one day I was trying to do the worksheets, I was trying to do everything, and I was so frustrated that I just brought out a bunch of books and I was like, just read something, read anything. Like we just have to accomplish something because I'm failing. And after that, I came out, I like collected myself because I was not doing a good job with anything that day. So I went and collected myself and I came out and the kids were so engaged. And I started asking them about what they read, and they were so excited to tell me about what they read. And I was like, okay, there's something to this that they were excited. They weren't frustrated. I wasn't pulling teeth. None of us were, because before that we were just all in tears. And so I was like, there is something to this. And so I really leaned into it. And I love how Mackenzie Price is doing the 2 hour school with the Alpha schools. And
Yep, yep.
now I think that this is really becoming a more well-known system. But for me, it just started out of just sheer like desperation, and then I just leaned into it a little bit.
Now, do you see with you having this there all figured out, do you see that I would imagine it gives your kids more time to also be kids when they're structured for those 2 hours, but then it gives them a life. Do they seem to enjoy it a lot more?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, David, that's such a good point because I think that we don't always give credit to what kids are learning when they're outside playing with their friends. I mean, when they're building Legos, we have, engineering, we have collaboration, we have so many skills that are happening just in those playing. I mean, the other day I brought out Play-Doh and I was like, okay, let's build something. And we did some like you could do fractions. There's so
Yeah.
much that there's so many skills that kids are learning just in the playing that we forget about that. And even just building trees, like what you were, or climbing trees, what you were saying with the skills, the studies behind what kids need and how that academically translates. Kids need the body should be incorporated into learning. And so it's really actually important for these kids to have that playtime. And I consider that 100% learning. So even though we're doing 2 hours of academics, when they're outside playing, when they're climbing trees, when they're building Legos, they're absolutely learning and developing skills that are really crucial.
No, I agree 100%. I also have seen, so I like to read and I've read a lot. I run a marine business. That's how we make our money. And so I've read a lot of business books, and it seems like when you look into the top people like Steve Jobs, Peter Thiel, like all these people, they all touch on that ability to still be in that imaginative, playful state when it
Wow.
comes to building things. So it's weird that our school system will actually take that out when that is something that I feel is so crucial for actually learning and engaging and really retaining what you're supposed to be learning, you know?
Yeah.
Um, can you talk a little bit about the shift from being that public school? Now, you being homeschooled your whole life, you had that background already. Was that shift though coming from the public school system into the homeschooling setting? Can you just talk a little bit about that shift?
Like as a teacher, being a teacher and coming.
Yeah, and then trying to just from being okay, here's your benchmarks that your state you have to hit to then
Yeah.
going to the homeschool and be like, okay, I have my freedom to do it however I want.
Yeah, I mean, in our homeschool, we honestly, I've taken, so much liberty to do it how I wanted from the beginning.
Love
But we still, I live in the state of California, so we still have to test. We still
it.
have to do some of those, benchmarks. But really, I mean, I have just from in those beginning stages, I didn't do it well, and I did the worksheets and I tried to replicate the school system. But after those first couple years where I just saw how it was not working, and this was very much a public traditional school model that was being used for 30 students versus a homeschool model. I really changed pretty quickly because I realized that it wasn't working, and went back to my roots of, hey, let's incorporate a lot of play. But I definitely have a lot of systems and routine that allows us to have, that play. But I think that people don't always realize that it's possible. I think people
Yeah.
just don't know that that you can do this. And so as a public school teacher, I use those tests from my kids because people think that homeschoolers are falling behind or they're not doing well. But so many studies are showing, we just had that Harvard study that came out that showed how well homeschoolers are doing. We have
Mhm.
studies that are showing that Ivy League schools are actually pursuing homeschool students
Yep.
because of the self-independence, because they are regulated, because they are doing so well. So it homeschool students, I mean, of course, there's always going to be the outliers, but in general, they are thriving academically, socially. We have so many social outlets I mean, that's probably one of the number one questions I get is, well, are they awkward? Are they social? I mean, we're all
Mhm.
awkward a little bit. I love that question because I'm
Yes.
like, have you seen the kids in the school system? Like, we're awkward. Like,
Yes.
Cavin, like, what are we doing? So there's awkward on both sides of the fence.
Yes.
Everywhere, everywhere. And also, I mean, I personally feel like because my mom was very big on like go out, play with your friends. Like go be with your friends, go play, go do your thing. And just going from my transition, into college, I didn't feel like awkward when I was going through it, but I would be like with my roommates, and I played baseball in college, so like we had like a real tight knit group, and the kids would be like talking about like how either like they miss home, they feel like they're missing, like they don't know how to really interact with all these people from all different areas, and I was just like, yo, this is completely normal. I can go into any setting, and I embrace my awkwardness. That's just who I am. If you like it,
Yeah.
cool. If you don't, but I feel like also from what I've seen with my business is the kids when they, especially for the detailing side of our business, we're hiring a lot of kids fresh out of high school that aren't going to college, and
Mm,
they have a real hard time connecting with people that are outside of their age group.
mm,
And
yeah.
I personally believe when you're homeschooling, even just going to the store with your parents during the day, going and doing these random tasks, going to the post office, sending things out,
Yeah.
you're surrounding yourself with different people, different personalities, different
Mhm.
age groups that are actually, when you do make that transition into adulthood, you're not just so used to only being around kids your age who are like the same things or who are part of your little clique that you had in school. I
Hmm.
don't know if you've seen the same, but I feel like that is something that we actually, as homeschoolers, have a leg up compared to the
Yeah.
public school system.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah. I think that's so good.
so when it comes to homeschooling parents that you're working on a lot, or with parents who are trying to homeschool, do you have anything that kind of helps them with the process of getting their kids out?
pulling their kids out of public school, figuring out like how to do it legally. I know every state has different things you have to do, different kind of notifications or times you have to notice them. Do you help them at all in that area as well? And if not, it's totally cool.
Yeah, so I have a template, a letter. First of all, just letting them know because I think some people think they just don't know that they can pull their kids out. So
Yeah.
just letting them know that yes, it is absolutely legal in all 50 states of America. Like it is legal for you to pull your kids out. And then I have a template, a letter of, that you can kind of use to send to the school to send to so that they so, because you don't know what to say when you're pulling your kids out, and so I tell them who to send it to, a template of what to say, and then honestly, really, that's it. You just have to, and then telling them, giving them the options of what they can do. In California, we have charter schools. You can do an umbrella school. You can do a PSA, private school affidavit. Just letting them know what their options are, and then what those deadlines are. Because as a if you're going to do a private school affidavit, you have to do it by October, I think it's 11th. The charter school. So there are deadlines that you need to
Okay.
meet, and looking at those deadlines. So I just equip them with all of the information, and letting them know what that looks like.
Now, because I'm South Florida, so I'm on the complete opposite coast of you.
Okay.
When it comes to California, is it difficult to actually go through the process, or is it just a matter, like you said, it's just hitting the right deadlines? Because in Florida, we can pull them out at any time. It doesn't matter, and you don't have to. I think in California, you have to start like your own school, right? Is that
Mhm.
how it works?
Yeah.
Is that a difficult process, or is that just paperwork?
I mean, it's difficult if you're trying to do it on your own, I would say. But
Okay,
I think if you have, but even Chat GPT, at this point, like it's
without a
honestly
doubt.
just filling out the paperwork and submitting it. So,
Yep.
and then just knowing, I think people, just knowing what you need to do legally. I think you can't just pull your kids out and do nothing, like you have to, there's certain hoops that we have to go through, but it's not difficult. So it is, highly discouraged by the school system. And I let them know that, like, look, they're going to tell you every which way that you cannot do this, but you absolutely can. And, I can tell you that from every person, every legal way you can pull your kids out. But you just have to do it right.
Now, since your husband was the traditional school route, and you said you guys were both in it together, is he seeing benefits, or is he enjoying it more now that the kids are at home, or is it like what? Basically, what I'm trying to get at is, do you feel like it's connecting your family more now that you guys are homeschooling compared to when everyone else is sending their kids off to school and they get that 8 hours to go kind of live their life, do whatever they need to do? Do you feel like it's connecting your family more than it would be if they were going off to school?
Yeah, that's such a good question. It's interesting because if we look at the hours that we get back when we homeschool, we get 16,000 hours a
I
year
know.
back with our kids.
It's
Wow.
insane. It's
That's time
insane.
you can't get back in the public school system. And most of the kids that I taught when I was in public school were in after school programs. So they were there till 5 and 6 p.m. So that's 16,000 hours,
Word.
actually a conservative number. So yes, we absolutely get time as a family because we're doing life together. I mean, call me old fashioned, but this what we have in place as a society is a very separated life, and siblings
Mm,
aren't close. They're not connected because,
Yep.
you get
so
home
true.
for if you're doing an after school program, you get home at 5, you have dinner, you might have sports, then you have homework.
Yep.
Where's the time that you're connecting with your
Hmm.
Where's the time that you're connecting with your families? So it's really not a surprise when you look at the families today and you see the disconnection because the parents are going two separate ways to work. They're providing for their family. The kids are living two separate lives in two separate classrooms, doing their sports, doing we are in a disconnected society. So I
Yep.
would say that's a really, really big benefit for homeschooling is that we are doing life together. And yes, we have sports, and yes, we have hip hop and basketball, but we're doing it together. And just like what you had mentioned earlier, the benefit of multi-generational socializing, they are socializing with grandparents and younger and older. And I love the argument when people are like, well, are they going to be prepared for the real world? I don't know a real world where I'm in a room with,
Yep.
30 other 30-year-olds. I don't know a
Yes.
world where I'm only interacting with people my age. So I would say that this actually prepares them even more because they're interacting with, all generations. And so, yes, it connects. Yes, it prepares them. And I believe it builds a confidence that they just can't build in the public school system because you just have to blend in and to no fault of anyone's, but that's just how you survive.
The only way you make it through. And there's two things I want to highlight there. One, the 16 hours. We made a resource on that. And I started it off by saying that not everyone, but most people lay on their deathbed wishing for more time with their family. Simply by homeschooling, you are buying back that time with your family that everyone else when they're dying wish they had, and you are buying back at the most crucial time when they are developing, when they are becoming individuals themselves, when they're learning. You are just by homeschooling, you are giving yourself so much more time with your family. And then on
Yeah.
top of that, I run my business with my brother, and a lot of people, like my customers, be like, "Oh, are you and your brother fighting yet? Or you guys? How do you guys operate?" They say, "Don't do business with family." And I always tell them, like, if you can't do business with your family, you have a messed up family. Because my brother and I, we will fist fight each other, and then 30 seconds later, we are best friends. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It is because our whole life whether we were going fishing in the canals together, where we were going running through the woods, playing, building forts, taking my
Yeah.
sister's stuff and hiding it to get her mad. It doesn't,
Yeah.
whatever we were doing, we were always doing it together. And it built in this like bond that we have that no matter what, at the end of the day, like money can't come before it. People can't come before it. It's just the way we are. And I swear it's because we were homeschooled that
Yeah.
we can transition into business. We'll fight, we'll argue about different like marketing tactics we should do, different ways we should quote jobs. But at the
Yeah.
end of the day, it runs so smoothly for us because we've had that lifetime
Yeah.
of just being together, actually working out our differences when we have them, compared to just having, okay, well, I fight with my brother and I get to go hang out with my friends at school or whatever. For us,
Yeah.
it was always, all of my friends used to say, because I'm older by 4 years, but every one of my friends, they knew when I was coming to their house, I'm bringing my brother with me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he was an extension. He was friends with all of my friends just because we were always together and we didn't want to be apart. You know what I mean? It's just the way it is. And I think homeschooling really created that family bond that we have till this day. And it's just because, like you said, you're really having that tight knit family that is really missing in society. And if we could figure that part of society out, I think we would see a lot of things kind of start steering in a better direction. Simply
Mhm.
because when you have a strong family, when you know at the end of the day, hey, I have these people in my corner, no matter what, I think it makes for a more confident person. I think it gives you a more willingness to fail rather than feeling like you're alone in this world. And I think that homeschooling is just the best option. And
Mhm.
I talk and make resources on things that it's not a matter of like how you do it or like when you're doing it. It's a matter of knowing that like I can do this, I can keep failing, I can keep messing up. But as long as you have that strong foundation,
Yeah.
you're okay. It doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, I can go back to my house, I can shoot the crap with my brother in the living room, just doing what we're doing. And it does everything else gets kind of washed out compared to thinking like, hey, I'm in this world by myself. I don't have nobody. And then my mom, she's from Honduras. So like we have the Spanish side. My grandma always talks about how it's so weird that in our culture, like the elderly just kind of gets pushed out. Like we
Mhm.
don't. And then like in every other culture, it's like when they get older, the grandma comes to back to the house. She's helping out. You know what I mean? And it's so weird that America's society is just so driven about, hey, when you're 18, figure it out, go face the world by yourself. Compared to like, hey, here's your family, like
Yeah.
everyone's involved. So I don't know. I'm trying to highlight, I guess, what you were saying, that like homeschooling gives you that benefit, and also it gives you, for me at least, that stability that we're kind of all missing right now. Um, when
Yeah.
it comes to your content, what you're doing, do you have anything that you want to like talk about that you can kind of like tell people where to find the information at before we kind of pop off? That way they know, hey, this link, or maybe I know your social media, but do you have anything else that you want to share right now? That way they can kind of find you.
Yeah, I mean, that's really where I am is Instagram. I try to give value, and every day I'm just trying to give resources that can equip parents. So yeah, I mean, I believe that this is a movement of families taking back their kids' education and knowing that it is possible. And I'm just going to talk about it every single day until everyone knows that it is possible, that you can homeschool. And even if you're working, there are systems that you can put in place that can allow it to work for your family. So I'm always trying to give value over there. So yeah, if anyone, that's where I'm at.
That's the best place to find you. How long have you had that Instagram account for, by the way?
You know, I really t started taking it seriously about 2 years. I mean, I've had it forever, just like everyone.
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
created it, but then as I was teaching and as I was getting so many questions about how I was working and homeschooling at the same time, I was like, oh, this is a need. People need to know what's available to them. People need systems. They need to know that they are qualified. They need to know what kind of curriculum they can use because it's very overwhelming if you're not in the world of homeschooling. So looking out at it and just seeing, what would that even look like for me? I am just giving them a picture of, hey, this is what it could look like for you, and you're absolutely capable of doing this. And these are the resources that could help you. So, yeah, about 2 years ago is when I really started like taking it seriously.
No, you're killing it. I love your content. I mean, that you were
Mhm.
probably when we started our Instagram page a couple months ago, you were one of the first people I saw. And I was like, oh, this lady's killing it right now. Like every one of your posts are valuable.
Oh,
So you're doing good. Miss Beth, before we
that
hop
means
off,
so much.
yes, ma'am. Do you have any questions
Thank you.
for her?
What's that?
Do you have any questions for her, Miss Beth?
I don't think so. I think you covered everything. That was very interesting. And I do have to say, I had to really laugh. I loved I think it was your most recent reel about chemtrails. That was so good.
Oh,
I
yes.
love that. I was like,
Have
yep.
you guys watched the Are you
No,
guys okay? You get me. You're my
yes.
people.
No,
Okay.
I was, look,
Yeah.
I was my second year of college. We're taking BP, and I'm explaining to people like about chemtrails. And like my coach was like, "You're crazy!" Like everyone's like joking on me. I'm like, listen to me. This is going on." And
Yes.
then Florida just made it illegal to do it, which
Yes.
means they've
I
been doing it,
know.
you know. And then
Oh,
all my
so
friends were like, "Oh my
jealous.
God, you were telling the truth. You weren't crazy." And I was like, "I know I'm not crazy. I've been telling you guys about this." But yeah,
Oh,
no,
Florida's doing some cool stuff. Don't you guys also get a stipend for homeschooling? I heard that you guys is
yes,
that?
we.
Okay.
It's. I think that I really say Dave DeSantis, like no matter your political views, he's really done a great job where it comes to they just took all the mandates for vaccines for regular school out too. So it's a
Wow.
matter, like I said, he's doing a really good job of opening it up. And hopefully, like I said, I mean, we have a very free state, but I would like to see a little bit more to push people to understand that hey, homeschooling is a thing that's that's here, and then to really start giving our all my life all the taxes my mom and dad were paying for the public school system that we
mhm.
weren't using. So I would like to see a thing that really helps out the homeschooling family to a point where it's like it's I don't know, it's very big. I know it's big in California as well. There are a lot of homeschoolers out there, but I would like to see where like hey, like let's figure out a way to help these families who aren't doing it because they want to be bad. They're doing it because they want to produce a good person, a good citizen. You know what I mean? Like, let's really try to figure it out. So hopefully we'll keep moving in the right direction. But at the end of the day, like I mean, we can only control what we can control. But yeah, they did do that, and then also the chemtrails things was nice. However, Florida only owns up to a certain altitude, so
Okay.
federally they can still do
Oh,
chemtrails above it. So it's like we'll see if it stops. But with the government shutdown, my skies have been clear
I
and
know.
beautiful.
I
So
know. Ours has been the same way. Yeah,
it's the
which is
weirdest thing.
crazy.
All right. Well, before we get out of here, do you mind if we just grab a quick screenshot with us all waving so I
Of
can post it on
course.
my story? All right, nice.
Yeah.
That's nice, nice. All right. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Perfect.
Awesome. David, I love what you're doing. I'm like so for you guys. And then Beth, I haven't known you, but I'm so excited for what you guys are doing and like just cheering you on. I think yeah, it's a movement and you're bringing awareness and building bridges and I think it's just really powerful what you're doing. So I'm over here cheering you on.
I appreciate it. I said, just
Thank
like
you.
you, we went through it. We understand
Mm.
all the misconceptions. We understand how my mom worked full time, just like you're doing while she was homeschooling. Like my dad was always working. So like I grew up seeing how possible it is. Now, granted, I mean it's not for everybody. Some
Yeah.
parents don't want it.
Yeah.
But like for me, it's just like a matter of like this option has been here this whole entire time.
Mhm.
And if you're willing to walk through the door and try it out, I want to help you out as much as you can. You know what I mean? Like I've never claimed to be like an expert in anything, you know, like when it comes to cleaning boats, I'm an expert. Like I got it. But like I said, it's just a matter of we just want to help out as much because I'm telling like my childhood was I'm sure your childhood was too. I know Miss Beth's was. It was amazing on like a beautiful day
Mm-hmm.
for my mom just to be like, hey, you know
Mm-hmm.
what? We're gonna do this actually tonight. Let's go spend all day at the beach today. You know, and
Mm-hmm.
it was just like I saw all the opportunities, and then I saw when I kind of got into adulthood, like all these misconceptions that people were like, my family was very against it. Like they were
Mhm.
very against it when we were doing it. However, my aunts and uncles who were against it, their kids are now homeschooling their kids. So it's
Wow.
like a thing like we're just
Full
trying to help.
circle.
It is, it really is.
Yeah.
So we're just trying to help people out as much as we can. We just got started, so we're still green when it comes to it, but I think if anyone wants to do it, you know what I mean? I just want to help them be successful at it.
Yeah.
I've seen what it's done for my family, you know what I mean? And I know the experience. And I also know all the stuff that's going down in the public school system, even when it comes to kids not able to shine and embrace their own personality. Because, like you said, they have to do it to get through, and it's no fault to anybody. It's
Yeah.
the only way to survive in that system. I just really want people to understand that this option's here.
Yeah.
At least try it out for a couple years. You can always fall back and go back to the regular ways, but at least try it out. And I really feel like if you do try it out, you're gonna stick around. You're gonna love it. You know what I mean? It's just a matter of it's something that really I'm like really passionate about, and I just think that just how you're doing. So I want to talk with you and show people to find your resources. You know, there's so many these days. Like there, even just like the technology we have, like you can do this and your kids can actually like your kids are doing right now get a better education, get more of a childhood, and there's people like you who are there that are like, hey, this is exactly what works, follow these systems, let's just
Yeah.
get them in front of these people so they understand that like this is not something you're attacking by yourself. You have a whole movement behind you,
Mhm.
and you
Yeah.
have people like you who are here saying, hey, this is how you do it, I'm here to help, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
we're fresh though, we're new, so we're figuring it out, you know.
I mean, but that's how we're all doing this messy. I mean, that's the beauty of it is you
That
figure it out
is.
as you go. But we are in a movement of preserving kids' childhood because once they're in the school system, they have to blend in. They have to have the latest iPhone. They have to have the
Yep.
right clothes. And the bullying that is going on, I mean, suicide rates are the highest that they've ever been. So it
I know.
really is about protecting kids' childhood and just like what you said, letting them play, let kids play as soon as they enter, that traditional school system, we really eliminate so much of that. And so I believe it's about connection, it's about preserving childhood, and it's about protecting kids' mental health. The mental health of our kids today is, we have so many anxiety, depression, suicide. It's just we have to take this serious. And so I love that you were speaking to this and bringing awareness to this because it's a conversation that's really important.
No, it really is. And like I said, it's a shame that it's the easiest time we've ever had when it comes to my grandma had 8 siblings. They didn't eat most nights. You know what I mean? Like it's just we should be the happiest society right now with
Yeah.
everything we have, but instead we're seeing this crazy fall off. We're seeing all of these like kids who, like I said, depressed. Their suicide rates are up, and from what I'm looking at, I'm just like, in reality, we're living in the easiest time that humans have ever existed. We should
Yeah.
be like reaping in all of these rewards. And if we could just by homeschooling, I think it does help. but we should just recognize that, hey, look, it's if you want something, if you want to go get food, there's a grocery store on every corner. You know what I mean? It's the easiest time ever to be a human being.
Yeah.
Why are we so depressed? Why are we so anxious? Like, what is going on? And I think homeschooling is a way, at least, to help with that, to where, hey, your kids aren't going to be stressed about, like, we did not grow up with a lot of money. I never had the coolest shoes. Yeah, you know what I mean? I didn't have a phone till I was 16. Like, we never had it, but I was happy the whole entire time. You
Yeah.
know? So if there's anything that we can do to help you out, just holler at us. I've loved talking with you today. What we usually do is we'll make like a resource from the conversation. I'll include your Instagram. Do you have a website that I should put on there as well for people to click on?
You know, I do, but honestly, it's just all my Instagram because I
Okay.
just send people to the resources as so it's Instagram's just really the best place.
Okay, the
Okay,
best
great.
place. All right, sounds good. And then thank you again so much for this. I really
Yes, thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Oh, thank you, David and Beth. It was so good to talk to you guys. Actually, do you know
You
Raven?
too.
She's in Florida too. Do you guys follow her?
What was it again, her name?
Raven Kramer. I forget
Yes, I do know who you're talking about. I think
follow
I do.
her.
Yes.
She's in
You
Florida and
would?
she's like the unschooler school homeschooler and she's a huge resource too. So
Really?
if you want someone else to she does podcasts as well and she's incredible. I love her so much.
Oh,
So
great.
if you're ever looking to connect with people in your state, she's a good one.
Okay,
Yes.
let's go ahead and connect with her because
Okay.
I
Okay.
personally don't know who she is, but let's go ahead. That sounds amazing, especially
She's
Okay.
since in
awesome.
my backyard.
You'll love her. Yeah, yeah. David and
Okay.
Beth, thank you so much. Like you guys are
Thank
amazing.
you.
So wonderful to talk to you.
Yes, ma'am.
You
All right.
too.
You have a good day. All right.
Okay, you too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.